only now just occurred to me that good movie-based video games don't really get the attention they deserve. I mean, I guess it's because it's the internet, right? Where optimism goes to die. But really, there are some great movie-based games out there, and one that I don't see a lot of people talking about is Indiana Jones's Greatest Adventures for the SNES. Developed and published by LucasArts with the help of Factor 5, who would go on to make the timeless Rogue Squadron games, and JVC Musical Industries, who also published the Super Star Wars series on the SNES. Basically, we're talking a dream team of publishers and developers. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with a movie-based game when it comes to these guys, and this game's no exception. Of course, like the Super Star Wars series, this game faithfully adapts the Indiana Jones films into a side-scrolling platform game. And by faithful, I mean fucking faithful. The stories for each are told through these quick scenes with pixelated images taken straight from the movie, which is pretty silly since if I'm playing the game, I probably don't need a rundown on the plot. It's got me thinking though, like, how bizarre would it be to play this game and know absolutely nothing about the Indiana Jones films? Like, okay, I'm some kind of explorer, adventuring through some ancient temple. Holy shit, a giant boulder! Oh man, and this is what I mean by faithful. Check this part out with the first level. Notice how this spike thing shoots out of the floor, seemingly without warning. Well, technically, you were already warned.
Stay out of the light.
Yeah, the beams of sunlight are actually a tell straight from the movie. I'm nerding out just talking about it. And yeah, of course you gotta have the boulder scene. This is one of those classic cases of me going through some sort of old age denial though, because I swear this part used to not be so damn hard. Young me always beat this level easy. Like, what's going on here? Damn carpal tunnel, and cataracts, and dentures. Where's my walker? Next level is Nepal, in the Burning Tavern, where you have to climb up the level and away from instant death. But first, Indy has to get there by whipping timber wolves and getting his shit kicked in by rolling snowballs. Just like in the movie. Then at the top of the towering inferno, it's a showdown against Tot? This guy. And thanks for the help, by the way, Marion. She's just standing there like, oh, you want the medallion? Oh, too slow. You want the medallion? Too slow. Then it's off to Cairo, where shit gets really crazy. Of course, in the context of the film, this makes sense. You know, the Nazis are trying to get a hold of Marion's medallion, but this game makes it seem like this is just another typical day in Cairo, where you randomly get accosted by shit-slinging monkeys and women throwing their pottery out of the window relentlessly. The hell did I ever do to you, lady? How many pots you got in there? Maybe she just has it out for this guy. Oh snap, this level has a boss at the end too, just as the game gives you a gun. That's a nice touch. Then it's off to a poorly maintained dig site, where, thanks to some industrial light and magic, Indy uncovers the Well of Souls. Or, as I like to call it, the Temple of Continuous Sphincter Clenching. Man, these jumps are tight. Then from there, it's off to the island where the Ark is opened. Oh, wait, so there isn't a level with the truck? Probably the most iconic scene in action movie history, and it's not even a stage in a video game? They do a Cairo at night stage, which isn't even a thing in the movie, but they didn't think to put in the truck?
Truck? What truck?
And this level on the island is a real pain. The damn Nazis have crows working for them now. The final boss of Raiders of the Lost Ark has Indy whipping the shit out of Belloc as he prances around like a weirdo. For extra authenticity, beat the boss with your eyes closed. Nah, just kidding, that'd be fucking impossible. Next is Temple of Doom, which starts in Shanghai in Club Obi-Wan, where you dodge gunfire by hiding behind pianos and tables, avoiding falling chandeliers, runaway flaming serving trays, All the while the dancers in the background are just having the time of their lives. Then it's out into the streets, where I always get lost. And these damn window ladies show up again. See, I know you're working for the bad guys now, because no one could possibly need to throw out that much wood. The next stage is the life raft sliding down the snowy mountain. Oh, looks like Willie and Short Round didn't make the landing. Neither of them are even mentioned in the game, by the way. Gee, wonder why. It's a pretty fun Mode 7 level. That will later become the bane of my existence, but that's for later. The next stage is Indy looking for a hidden thuggy hideout in Pankot. You know the scene where Indy pushes a statue, revealing the secret passage? Yeah, it's an entire level now, pushing giant versions of the same statue to teleport you to other rooms until you get behind the right one. And which direction you push the statue is also factored into where you show up. Now as a kid, I'm pretty sure I had the route memorized, or would at least play around with it until I got lucky, but this time around I actually made mental notes to suss out the right route. And it took fucking forever! I was this close to busting out a pen and notepad. Yeah, using a pen and notepad on an adventure platformer. Let me just bust out my bifocals and grab my fucking stationery. After that, it's back to basics with lava platforming and bats. Lots of bats. Then you have to free the child slaves. Lots of child slaves. I never really appreciated how creepy and ominous the music is in these stages. Shit's pretty intimidating. And then it's the next Mode 7 stage with the minecart. And holy shit, is it long and tedious. The idea is to shoot switches to change tracks, as well as incoming carts full of bad guys, but you only have like a second to realize where you need to shoot, and then accurately shoot it. The view distance and controls for these segments are not refined enough to do either with any sense of efficiency. You just have to be super alert or have the course memorized. And if you shoot a switch twice by accident, which I do frequently because the thing would sometimes not respond to the first shot, it'll switch back again. So you have to be damn sure you hit the switch, because you won't have a second chance at it. It eventually came down to memorization, a little bit of luck, and looking up the password for the next stage, which is the final boss on top of a slowly deteriorating bridge. Hilariously, he attacks you with Sankara stones, sending them plummeting into the canyon below, which kind of works in the context of the movie, but makes no sense in the game world, since, gathering all the stones was kind of important. Molaram, prepare to meet Kali in hell. The Last Crusade begins in the catacombs underneath Venice, where you have to duck every now and then to prevent a wave of fire from killing you instantly. Just like in the movie. Kind of. After that is the Austria Castle stage, or as I like to call it, 2D Castle Wolfenstein, which has this super fun segment where you swing from peg to peg with your whip. It's super satisfying. Noticing a severe lack of tapestries in this castle, though. Eventually, we find what is probably the only video game representation of Sean Connery, and catch a ride on a blimp. Yeah, the blimp is its own stage, along with the airplane scene, which, you guessed it, is a Mode 7 with awkward controls and barely comprehensible rules for how it works. You have to shoot down each of these planes without getting shot, but how you get shot in relation to where you are and where the attacking plane is a little iffy. Basically, if you just fly low on the screen, nothing will hit you, and you just pop your head up to shoot at one of the planes in the distance. That strategy is what got me through this section, so there's your pro tip, I guess. Next is the iconic tank scene, which is represented in this game as a fist fight you have on top of the tank. And you do have to beat this guy before the tank makes it to the ledge. You can't just jump off like in the movie. And finally, it's the last temple, which is just as difficult as the last temple should be. But it's not even the booby traps that make this level hard. It's these goddamn Grail Guardians with their stupid Hammer Bro attack patterns. And yes, the blades popping out of the ground straight out of the movie is once again a great attention to detail. Though I would have liked to have seen a leap of faith incorporated into the stage. Maybe that's what this section's meant to be. The final boss of the game is actually not the Grail Knight, but instead Donovan after choosing poorly. Damn, the dude may be aging rapidly, but he's still got some moves in him. I like the Grail Knight standing off to the side during the fight. Just like Marion, no help at all. Though he's probably like, man, I've been alive for 700 years and I've never seen this kind of shit. This can be a tough fight, but once you get the tells figured out and learn the magic of rolling, which I had been neglecting this whole playthrough, he's as good as dust. And you get a nice little credit sequence with Indian Co. riding off into the sunset. Please ignore that final score. This is, in my opinion, the epitome of a good movie video game adaptation. The story, the music, it was all taken straight from the source and given the proper love and attention a fan of the movies would expect. The levels themselves were clearly adapted and full of detail. Everything deviated just enough to make an enjoyable game while at the same time paying homage to the source material. Even the Mode 7 segments, though they're by far the biggest difficulty gaps in the game. It's a great game for fans of the movies and fans of the video games in general, which is why I'm surprised it isn't talked about as much as I think it should be. But then again, maybe it's for the same reason why this video is so short. Talking about good things isn't nearly as inspiring as bitching about the bad. You know, maybe I'm just growing more cynical. I hear it happens with old age. So, let's keep up with the positivity and look at another great movie video game. And seeing Spielberg's name scroll through the credits just reminded me of one. Oh, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Is there anything you can't do? King of the platformers, lord of the arcade ports, undefeated champion in the world of role-playing games, and is apparently home to some not terrible movie adaptations. When you think of a Jurassic Park game on the SNES, what do you picture it to be like? A side-scroller, right? Makes sense. Jumping through the island, shooting raptors, flipping power switches. Pretty standard stuff. But the Mad Lads at Ocean had other ideas, and the Jurassic Park video game we got on the Super Nintendo instead was a top-down adventure game with first-person shooter elements involving puzzles that needed to be solved in maze-like structures. Yeah, welcome to Jurassic Park. The game throws you into the deep end with nothing but a cattle prod and a smashing hat. I guess you're supposed to be Grant, given the hat and the voices in your head.
Mr. Grant.
So if you play this game like I used to, your main objective is to zap these little dinos and wander around aimlessly until you get jumped by a raptor. Haha, but we're smarter gamers now, and the real objective is not that much different. Come here, you little bastards. Get a load of the music, too. These beats are fucking fresh. Not the classic movie score we're all familiar with, is it? But who could forget John Williams' short stint into hip-hop? So where do you go, and what are you really supposed to be doing? Well, apparently these lampposts give information on your current objective when you interact with them. Not that that's much help. I was halfway through this game before realizing that was a thing. And the other half was obviously spent using walkthroughs. The farthest I ever got naturally was figuring out I need to restart the generator in order to get the computers working again. Oh yeah, when you go into buildings, the game turns into Doom. Just look at that HUD. What's the point of all this? Is Grant wearing like a Space Marine helmet? These indoor areas are just oversized mazes. Everything looks the same and the controls are clumsy and awkward. Most of the time I find myself getting stuck in corners. God damn it. Almost like first-person shooters weren't longed for the 16-bit era or something. Luckily the raptors and spitters are pretty docile. Oh, bless you. Bless you. This game is really obtuse and confusing, and not just because of the indoor labyrinths. The objectives and how you're supposed to know how to achieve them are beyond bullshit, hence my reliance on walkthroughs. Now I could go on a long and rambling blow by blow of each ridiculous and unintuitive objective and how you're supposed to progress the game, so I will. My first assumption was correct, and we have to go turn on the generators in the utility shed. But of course it can't be that simple, and you first have to get batteries for night vision goggles. Then you can go into the dark room and turn on the generators. If you try to go into the dark room areas without night vision batteries, you get jumped instantly and spit back out to the entrance of the building. Holy shit, a Triceratops! That's fucking terrifying! The first thing you hear is the thudding footsteps and then Shazam! Next thing you know, you've been forced down a narrow corridor with only one way out. Yeah, this game's intense and, at times, legitimately terrified me as a kid. I haven't even mentioned how the raptors just materialized from the jungle foliage with no warning. Shit gave me anxiety as a kid, especially their awkward movement patterns that make them almost impossible to hit without getting eaten alive in the process. Luckily, Hammond decided to leave around the island a hefty supply of fucking rocket launcher ammo. Man, he really did spare no expense. Then you have to go to another utility shed to get Nedry's ID card, then to the visitor center to use Nedry's card to reboot the park systems, but also you have to be sure to pick up Hammond's ID so you can go into another room with more night vision goggle batteries, allowing you to go into another dark area to get Alan Grant's ID card. Wait, Grant's ID card? But I thought I was Grant. Also, I don't think Grant ever worked for the park, so what does he need an ID for? Then it's off to the Raptor Pen to get Ian Malcolm's ID and Muldoon's ID and go through an elevator that takes you to the visitor center. Okay. Use Malcolm's card in the utility shed to get Gennaro's ID, use Gennaro's ID in a different utility shed to get Ray Arnold's ID. Basically, this game is Pokemon. Just instead of catching all the Pokemon, you have to catch all the identification cards. Then you have to go through the mountains and avoid being crushed by falling muffins to get into a ship, get another ID card, head back to the visitor center and do some computer bullshit that allows you to go into another area in the Raptor Pen that allows you to call another ship, I guess. Don't exactly know what that's all about since I was just in a ship. That's right, gaining access to certain areas of the park requires the computers to open the gates. It's a Unix system. I know this. But only certain computers have this access, so it's anyone's guess how you're supposed to know what computer in which rat maze is supposed to do what. This also goes for the computer you need to call the ship. Except, I can't call the ship.
You didn't say the magic word.
And the game is still telling me to secure the visitor center from raptors? Well, I went through the Raptor Pen and killed all of them. What the hell am I supposed to do? Push this random box? For context, throughout the entire game, the only things you can interact with during the first-person sections are doors and computers. And this one fucking box. Yeah, I went through all of the Raptor Pen, but all I had to do was push a box. Again, something the game doesn't even tell you you could do. Even better, pushing this box is what's meant to stop the raptors from entering the visitor center. Through an elevator. I didn't even know raptors could use elevators. Clever girls. Right, let's see, what do I do next? Hold on, I need to check the walkthrough. Oh, it's Mr. DNA. Well, that's a pretty nice touch. If you leave the game alone long enough, you get some dino facts from Mr. DNA. It's like the game knew that you're gonna have to look away from it to consult a fucking guide. Anyway, you eventually have to go to the raptor grounds to unleash nerve gas you get with Muldoon's ID on a raptor nest. Which is, of course, hidden behind an indoor labyrinth full of raptors and sharp corners. Why is the music so intense here? And why is the game telling me about a T-Rex? Oh, sweet buttery Jesus. Wait a second. I just have to hold still, right? Their vision's based on movement. I feel like I've been lied to. Turns out there's no fighting the T-Rex. You just have to avoid its area entirely. Well, that's lame. Biggest icon of the film, and it's just stuck in one tiny little area of the island, and you Can't even do anything to it or with it. Just walk around it. I didn't even know the T-Rex was in this damn game until now because it's hidden near the end. After killing off the entirety of the raptor population on the island, for the most part, it's now just a matter of going back to the mother-humping ship and calling for a helicopter. Oh shit, I didn't even know there was a helipad in this game. Except, no, the helicopter won't pick me up until I collect all 18 eggs scattered randomly throughout the entire map. I just thought they were bonus things to get a high score or some shit. I was actually supposed to pick up each one? Every time. Every frickin' time. I think I got the game all figured out and it still manages to fuck with me. It's Jurassic Park. You run from dinosaurs, try not to get eaten, escape the island. The hell is all this key cards, egg collecting, nerve-gassing raptors nests? I was content just zapping these little guys and getting spit at. Why did it all have to be made so contrived and confusing? You know what happened? They stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as possible, and before they even knew what they had, they patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a game cartridge, and now they're selling it. They're gonna sell it. God, who is responsible for all this madness?
It's cool to compartmentalize inside.
Newman. Well, that's that, I guess. I beat a game I played a bunch as a kid just to have fun, and I didn't have too much fun doing it. You know, this whole tangent of videos started by exploring actually good games based on great movies. But now I feel like just 2 videos in and we're already starting to slip back into mediocrity. And if we keep going, we're gonna end up in a rabbit hole of shit, and I don't want to be in that hole, so let's just stop the crazy train now before it gets to that point, and vow never to talk about movie-based games. Ever. Ooh, what's this? Sports games never really did it for me, especially in this day and age where your options are EA, 2K, and that's it. And these 2 choices aren't, well, they aren't great. Gone are the days of slow-mo X-ray vision injuries from NFL Blitz, the flaming slam dunks from NBA Jam. Sports games are too streamlined and polite these days. Except for hockey, they actually have fist fighting programmed into the games. That's hilarious. What, are punching matches an official rule in the hockey rulebook? I mean, I know it happens a lot in hockey, but come on, that'd be like adding a mini game in Madden where you go home and beat your wife. Any dang way. I've been going on about movie games, not sports games. But believe it or not, movie games and sports games came together in one special night in 2003 and had a baby. The crying and pissing mess being Quidditch World Cup. No, wait, that's not right. Quidditch World Cup. No? Quidditch. There it is. The idea behind it makes a lot of sense. The fictional sport made popular by the Harry Potter franchise and nerds in college, programmed into a sports title much the same way as football. Or football. It's a unique enough concept that you'd have to try pretty hard to fuck it up. Oh. Alright.
EA Games.
Challenge everything.
Yeah, challenge everything. Especially the faith of your customers. Ancient EA jokes aside, let's dig into this mess. Well, straight off the bat, I have some questions. This isn't from the Harry Potter soundtrack. Apparently this is a song by Giuseppe Verdi. It's frickin' opera music. The Quidditch video game's only soundtrack is opera music. I mean, it's intense enough. Gets the idea across. But could they not get the Harry Potter soundtrack? Like, it would still fit. I mean, like this. Jesus, I'm only on the title menu and already I'm starting to nitpick. So as the name suggests, you can choose from various countries and participate in the Quidditch World Cup. But first, you have to go to school. The tutorial section has you play in Hogwarts first, meaning I have to pick a house. Which house? Which house? Gryffindor seems too obvious. Slytherin seems too contrarian. Well, there's only one way to know for sure which Hogwarts house you belong in. That's right, the sorting hat test from the official Harry Potter website. Now, this isn't some shitty Facebook personality test or anything like that. No. It's the real fucking deal, man. Okay, first question. Moon or stars? Stars, I guess? Would I like to be known to history as great, wise, bold, or good? Good, why not? Guess I'm not getting into Slytherin then, eh? I'd like to officially apologize to all Slytherins out there for my previous comment. It was unfair and biased of me. But you know you're fucking evil. I mean, come on. 4 goblets are placed before me. Which would I choose to drink? Smooth, thick, purple, smells like chocolate and plums. Oh, that sounds nice. Black liquid gives off fumes that make me see strange visions. A silver liquid containing ground diamonds. Or a golden liquid that hurts to look at? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the only one that seems ingestible. Late at night, walking alone down the street, you hear a peculiar cry that you believe to have a magical source. Do you draw my wand and stand my ground, withdraw into the shadows and wait while mentally reviewing defensive and offensive spells, draw my wand and try to discover the source of the noise, or proceed with caution? I feel like Will Smith in Men in Black. The prompt just said I heard a peculiar and potentially magical cry. I don't think whipping my dick out or planning a battle strategy is necessary. Just be more cautious, probably. What am I looking forward to learning at Hogwarts the most? Magical creatures, flying on a broom, becoming Harry Houdini, secrets of the castle, transfiguration, being an asshole, or everything? Well, damn, if I'm being honest, yeah, sure, why not all of it? A troll is loose at Hogwarts. Again. Who keeps letting these guys in? What order would I rescue the items in the headmaster's study? A cure for dragonpox, whatever that is. I mean, is dragonpox one of those innocuous kind of things, like the chickenpox, or are we talking a more life-threatening sort of deal? Wait, it's only a nearly perfect cure? Whatever, I'll save it first for now. 1,000 years of student records. Oh, well, now there's something I know is useless. And a book full of runes. Alright, I guess a cure, no matter what it's for or how nearly perfect it is, I'd probably want to save first. If I was attending Hogwarts, which pet would I choose? Cat, toad, or owl? Wait, toads were an option? What about rats? Also, the hell kind of toad is that? I guess I'll be lame and go for an owl. Now I have to decide what kind of owl. I mean, all owls are pretty cool, but the brown owl looks like Kipora Gaebora from Zelda, so that's a winner. White or black? What? White or black in relation to what? Like a yin and yang kind of thing? White or black socks? Chess pieces? Michael Jackson? White or black? White. Oh man, the sorting hat is ready. Yeah? Hufflepuff? I got fucking Hufflepuff? The house that's so lame, they had to put the dorms in the fucking basement? Oh, this is rich. Famous Hufflepuffs. Cedric Diggory, Triwizard Champion. Oh yeah, he's a winner alright. Whatever, guess I'm going with it.
Thank you for choosing the Hufflepuff Quidditch team.
Shut up, Diggory, you're dead. So Quidditch goes as such. You have 3 chasers, who you spend most of the time playing as, where you pass the quaffle and try to shoot goals past the other team's keeper. Then you have 2 beaters, who try to beat the shit out of other players by hitting bludgers in their direction, in which case it's up to the other team's beaters to smack away the offending balls. Then you of course have the main character of each team, the Seeker, whose only job is to find a little golden bastard called the Snitch and catch it before the other team's Seeker does, to gain their team an instant 150 points and end the match. With these basic ideas, I played my first game as Hufflepuff against Ravenclaw. Poor bastards didn't stand a chance.
My good friend and well-known Quidditch expert Seamus Finnegan joined me for today's game between Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw.
Man, I feel like I'm really immersed in the world of Harry Potter. Except no one gives a shit about either of these houses. Oh, and I've unlocked cards. Okay, now you have my attention. This game has unlockables, which are, they're okay. And getting all the cards unlocks the Edgar Clogg's card. Who the hell is Edgar Clogs? Oh, he's the ghost who haunts the Hogwarts Quidditch field. And I guess he was a Hufflepuff too. Cool. All the great achievers of Hufflepuff are fucking corpses. Well, a few matches later and a few more bludgers to the face, and Hufflepuff wins the Quidditch tournament.
Hufflepuff, come out on top! They'd be dancing in the Huff...
Yeah, in your stupid face, Harry.
It is with great pleasure that I award this year's Quidditch Cup.
You can tell this is supposed to be the Richard Harris Dumbledore and not Michael Gambon, because he would have presented the trophy like this. Congratulations, you bastard, you won! Rah. So after going through the Hogwarts tutorial, we can finally play the World Cup proper. Our team choices are merry old England, the old US of A, Japan, Germany, France, Australia, the Nordic team, Spain, and Bulgaria, which needs 65 cards to unlock? Why the hell are they so special? What, because they were like one of the teams in the match at the beginning of Goblet of Fire? And why isn't the Ireland team here? I mean, weren't they the ones who beat Bulgaria in that match? Whatever. The Nords it is. I like the antlers they have tied to the front of their brooms. But for a supposedly Nordic team, I'm noticing a severe lack of big facial hair. Their stadium is badass looking though. A lot of the stadiums in the World Cup look really cool. Spain has this giant indoor arena with beams of sunlight coming in. Australia, obviously, has the Outback thing going on. Japan has a nice little koi pond looking thing. My favorite though is the US stadium. It has this fall Halloween-y look with floating jack-o'-lanterns and a spooky looking manor in the background. It may seem like an odd choice at first for a Quidditch arena, but when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. You know, Halloween, broomsticks, and witches and shit. But really, the only reason I'm giving so much attention to the background of this game is because at this point, the shallowness of the gameplay is starting to show itself. With Quidditch, every match ends when the snitch is caught, right? Well, in order to get the snitch to appear in this game, you have to move these two bars you and the opposing team have next to the scoreboard together. Once they connect, the snitch is loose and you get the Seeker minigame where you have a speed bar whose length is determined by how long your team's snitch bar was. You following me so far? No? Well, that's okay, because that's not the fucking point. The point is, how you get the snitch bar to progress during the match proper is to chain combos from passing and utilizing special team shots that are also pretty cool looking. But get used to watching them because it's the only one you get for that team. Because these two things are all you need to end the match, then that means you hold down the left trigger, tap the A button to continuously pass the ball to the next teammate ahead of you to build a combo, then, once you reach the rings, push the B button to shoot. The other team gets the ball, you rub up against them and push A to tackle. You do that, and only that, for 18 fucking games. Pass, shoot, tackle, pass, shoot, tackle, pass, shoot. Jesus, I even resorted to using the bludger ability whenever it came up. Not because it's more effective than tackling, but because I needed some goddamn variety. This is on the default hardest difficulty, by the way. Not easy mode. You do unlock harder difficulties as you go, but I guess you have to suffer before it even becomes an option. Every match was a boring and uneventful slog that always ended in me utterly destroying the other team. There's no strategy, no planning ahead, no special team bonuses I had to look out for or make use of. The only match that gave me a hard time was against the US, but I think that's because they cheated in the snitch chase. That or I suck at it, but I mean, come on, look at those boost bars. How the hell did they catch up? What makes this extra frustrating is the matches aren't timed or anything either. It's all up to you to fill that snitch bar to let the match finally be over. And if the team you're playing against especially sucks, it can go by really slowly, since they don't contribute to the bar at all. So what I'm trying to get at is, this game had the potential to be something big. You know, people love Harry Potter, and Quidditch is a sport that us muggles have attempted to make exist, despite, you know, the inability to fly. The idea of a fictional sport being made into a legitimate sports video game should have been a goldmine, but again, the attempt seems too shallow. There's nothing really happening beyond the surface level fan service. The mechanics are too simple, the gameplay is too easy, Admittedly, the designs are cool and full of character, but it's a sports game at its core. Character doesn't amount to much, unfortunately. I guess there's card collecting, and typically I'm all about completionism and collecting all the shit, but that would mean playing roughly 160 more matches, and I don't think I have the patience for that. Sorry, Edgar Clogs. It'd be cool if you had stats, you know, catching, speed, passing, shooting. None of that exists in this game as far as I know. So every team and every player plays the exact same, which contributes to the blandness. Or having a team roster you could play around with would have been fun. Or make it so you had to deal with injuries and having to play without a full team. I mean, Quidditch is a deadly sport. Frickin' Germany lined the bottom of their stadium with goddamn bricks. Did you know Quidditch matches have a ref? I mean, I read all the books and everything, and I guess I always kind of figured they existed, but after playing this game, you could have fooled me. What does a Quidditch ref call on when knocking people off their brooms seem to be perfectly okay? I mean, bludgers and beaters are part of the fucking sport. Seriously, now I gotta know, what are Quidditch refs there for? I know the idea of stats and roster management might have been a bit too modern of a game concept for 2003. That, and it's not microtransactions, so EA wouldn't have given a shit anyway. But that's the mindset I walked away from this game with. What it could have been. And that's no fun. In fact, it just makes me depressed. Here's the footage of the Nordic team winning the World Cup anyway. I think there's something wrong with the team captain's neck. You know, I haven't played the other Harry Potter games, but I hear they're actually pretty decent, and people look at them with fondness and nostalgia. So why the hell was this the only Harry Potter game I ever played? These damn movie games, man, you just can't ever escape the bad ones. Plus, they're more fun to talk about, I suppose. But no, we gotta stay positive here on the internet. And I know just the franchise to talk about that never, ever disappoints. It's fucking Batman. Batman. Now there's a franchise that can't go wrong. And they've made some great games based on movies. Though, I've never played the NES Batman, which is basically a reskinned Ninja Gaiden, and I've never played Batman Returns. I've played the Arkham series, which aren't movie adaptations. Okay, I guess I never played a game based on a Batman movie. Except one. Batman Forever. Yeah, the first of the two Schumacher Batman flops. You know the one. It had Val Kilmer as the title character, along with Chris O'Donnell as Robin, Nicole Kidman as some crazy broad, and the powerhouse hammy duo of Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey as Two-Face and the Riddler, respectively. Yeah, it wasn't great. In fact, I made a video about that hot mess on this very same channel. That's right, that's Junk Drawer Willie's on youtube.com. Search, have you ever heard of Batman Forever? Link in the description. Yes. Link, what are you doing down there, you crazy bastard? Anywho, Batman Forever commercially was a success, and it was the late 90s, so the video game was par for the course. I actually would rent it all the time, and then get stuck in the first level and give up. In fact, it wasn't until the AVGN episode that I figured out what I was supposed to do 13 years later. Yeah, you have to do that stupid push up and select thing in a oddly specific way to grapple straight up, and use right shoulder button down to jump down a level. The game was published by Acclaim, who are famous for porting Midway's Mortal Kombat to consoles, and used the same engine as the early Mortal Kombat games, along with digitized actors in costume playing the characters, which also means they kept the same control scheme and animations as Mortal Kombat, complete with uppercuts, leg sweeps, and a flying bicycle kick. Okay, the bicycle kick isn't there, nor is any of the gore or finishing moves, obviously. But how weird is it that Batman would later fight against Mortal Kombat characters 13 years later in Mortal Kombat vs. the DC Universe? The weird design choice and the fucky controls are all anyone ever seems to talk about with this game. But what about the rest of it? What are the levels like? Are there bosses? When you get over the controls, is there a game worth playing here? The short answer is no. The long answer is no. Right, so first you have to choose Batman or Robin, who play basically the same. I like Batman more for his walk. He's like, put him up, put him up. The first level, Two-Face is broken out of Arkham Asylum, and Batman needs to deal with the rioting inmates taking advantage of the situation. Sounds vaguely familiar. First scene has you beat up 2 random crazy people and progress to the next scene. After we wait, the next scene, you beat up more crazy people, do the dumb grapple thing to move up to the next floor, and hey, look at that. I'm now the farthest I've ever gotten in this game. Now just look at me go, breaking hearts, minds, and personal records. After fighting more Arkham inmates like Cannibal, Maniac, and Oddball, it's the first level, and you're telling me you guys already started running out of names? Then it's off to the bank Two-Face is robbing to fight the likes of Dog, Bloodfire, and Octane. Oh yeah, now I'm sure that's what all your friends call you. I bet his real name is Eugene. I joke, but I do appreciate the attempt to name every opponent in a beat-em-up. It certainly gives me a lot of ammunition to work with. As if the loading screens weren't jarring enough, the bank level has you ride an elevator in between each floor, where nothing happens. Why is Batman even riding an elevator in the first place? He's freaking Batman! I guess it's true to the movie. Not that that made any sense either. To best sum up this whole game, it's basically a side-scrolling beat-em-up with clunky fighting controls that were not meant for a side-scrolling beat-em-up. You enter an area, beat up all the enemies, maybe every now and then get lost and have no idea where progress is, wait a few seconds for a game being played on a cartridge to load for some reason, and do it all over again. Speaking of getting lost, the next stage is the circus where Robin's family is killed by Two-Face. Spoilers. The stage is actually just 6 different scenes where you have to find a way to get to the bomb on the roof. It's easy to get lost and not know where you're supposed to go next to progress, while you collect these clocks to prevent the timer from reaching 0. Oh yeah, it's a timed mission. All the while there's goddamn clowns coming out of the woodwork trying to get a piece. Oh yeah, and there's no continues. It's back to Arkham and, back to the bank elevator. Yeah, I'm starting to think never making it past that first grappling hook area as a kid was really a blessing in disguise. I guess one way the game tries to spice things up is with these riddles strewn about that occasionally hint to hidden areas with more health and 1-ups. But mostly they're just an explanation on how to play the game. Yeah, tips and tricks on how to progress the game are given in riddles. Makes sense out of that one. This whole fucking game is a riddle. Unlocking secrets would be a cool idea if they weren't so obtuse. If you should finger a quad of these prints, a prize will be yours to make criminals wince. You want me to finger what now? I think that riddle means collecting 4 hidden blueprints will unlock a new gadget, which I had to look up online. Oh yeah, and the gadgets. At the beginning of each stage, there's 2 gadgets you always start off with, and 2 optional ones you can pick and choose. And for the longest time, I could not figure out what I was supposed to press to get the damn things to work. Like, a Hadouken, maybe? Finally, I looked it up, and it turns out I had the right idea. This game was made on a fighting game engine, right? So, of course, fighting game combos are what you have to press to use the gadgets. May I remind you, though, that this isn't a game where the controls to hookshot up is up on the D-pad and select. Yeah, I just stuck to punches and kicks. The stupid gadgets aren't even worth it from what I could gather. This is how much damage the Batarang does. Yeah, you'd need to throw like 7 of them just to down 1 enemy. Anyway, if getting beat up by clowns hasn't deterred you from the game yet, the next level is a warehouse Two-Face has been using as his lair. Man, all these crates, beating up criminals. I feel like I'm playing Dick Tracy again. And just like the first level when I was but a child, I got stuck on this level too. I have no idea how to get past these crates. I I mean, what? Is there another stupid button combo that makes Batman, like, fucking self-destruct or something? No, I'm supposed to use these screws to acrobat my way to other areas. Now, how was I supposed to know that? They look like part of the background. In a lot of cases, they are just part of the background. What, was there a riddle somewhere that tells me this was a thing? If there's no screws loose, then you're out of luck. Guess you better quit the game, you dumb fuck. And convincing Batman to grab the stupid things is a puzzle in and of itself. Yeah, what a load of anus. To top it all off, the level ends with a boss fight against Two-Face's henchwomen, Sugar and Spice, who are nearly impossible to beat because they gang up on you and you can barely get a hit in. Damn! Didn't think I'd have a hard time with a boss fight against a character played by Drew Barrymore. You know, so far, if you really try, the game isn't that tough as long as you know where all the health is. But the biggest roadblock that consistently screws me up is when the game decides to surround you with enemies. There's just no adequate way to get out of the situation without a guaranteed donkey punch. I mean, God, at least buy Batman dinner first. Supposedly there's a button combo that has Batman smash both the enemies' heads together, Three Stooges style, but I've never been able to pull it off. My early game solution was to rely on uppercuts and roundhouses to space them out, but that doesn't cut it for late game as the enemies start learning how to duck. And this isn't better demonstrated than in the Sugar and Spice fight, until you learn that if you just stick to one side of the screen, only one of them triggers and the other sits the fight out. Yeah, that definitely makes things easier. Unfortunately, it's not over after that as Two-Face comes a-creepin'. What are you doing there, Two-Face? God, I can't even get to him. He keeps kicking me. Fuck, quit it. God, quit it. Let me hit you. There's gotta be an easier way. I guess I'm really gonna have to give gadgets a try, eh? I have the bat bolas. Let's see, that's down, down, A. Holy shit. The gadgets are actually good for something. Bat bola, kick to the face. Bat bola, kick to the face. Oh man, yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. There's always something exploitable in these games that make them easier than they first seem, and it's an awesome feeling when you figure them out. Like solving a puzzle. Like the next stage. Oh, wait. Right, so the trick to this stage is to just not fall into the pits. It doesn't kill you instantly, but it puts you in a hallway full of enemies, so it might as well. Hey, check it out, it's old Blue Eyes.
Fly me to the moon.
The next stage... well, there's no trick to it, and it's just a bad guy gauntlet. Same with the next level, the Batcave. They're just linear stages that exist to drain your lives before the last boss. It's a battle of attrition, and as I stated before, I've yet to find a simple solution to getting ganged up on. No, please have mercy, Nacho Kid. Fuck. Shit. Yeah, suck my baculum. Hey, not that this has anything to do with anything, but, did you know if you push left up, left, A, B, Y on the menu, it opens a special cheat screen where you can select the level? And after you do that, if you pause the game, then push left and right at the same time, it deletes all the enemies on the screen. Again, it's just a random aside. Oh man, I finally made it to the final screen. Boy, oh boy, that took forever. Oh hey, look, it's totally not Nicole Kidman. And a rematch against Two-Face. Neat. Well, we know how to deal with this. What the actual hell is that? I mean, seriously. Why? Also, what's with Batman games and making the final boss a intellectual villain who's juiced out of their minds? Yeah, there's no strategy here. You just have to be lucky enough to kill him before he kills you. And just as an extra fuck you, that's not even the end. He turns back into the regular beanpole Riddler that you have to beat as well. All of that for a shitty congratulations screen. And what? No 16-bit rendition of A Kiss from a Rose? What kind of chicken shit production is this? In all seriousness though, there's a really good reason why you don't hear a lot about this game other than the Mortal Kombat engine and the shitty controls. Because no one in their right mind would even bother getting beyond the first fucking level. The gameplay is tedious, the design is dull and oddly true to its source material, and it's another one of those games that are difficult probably due to poor design and not because it was intended to be. Seriously, 8 levels and no continues. It's a clunky mess, and I'd honestly rather watch the movie than play this garbage again. At least the former is entertaining. But for real, we're done with the movie-based games. I mean, I can only take so much, and you gotta put me out of my misery at some point, right? Misery? Huh. Misery. Why, misery almost rhymes with Disney. Get it? Last time I said Disney games, but what I really meant was Star Wars. I guess the thing... yeah, it tears me up inside too. Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures for the SNES, the first movie adaptation I covered on this long and silly journey, was published by JVC Musical Industries, and, as I mentioned in said video, they were also responsible for the release of the Super Star Wars trilogy. The same care and attention to detail was, of course, given to the original Star Wars movies, each film getting its very own game. There's something here for fans of Star Wars, and even for people who've never heard of Star Wars, if those people even exist. The games, like Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures, are just instant classics. The only drawback being... they're just fucking hard. Which you wouldn't think at first, since you're given plenty of lives and continues. There's not too many instant death pits. You get a large health bar that can even be upgraded with plenty of health drops from killed enemies. So how could it possibly be a hard game? Well, the problem is the game is constantly throwing everything and the kitchen sink at you. There's never a moment's rest. It's just a constant cacophony of crap. So this isn't like a classic arcade style game where every obstacle can be avoided or worked around in some fashion or another. No, you're gonna take hits, and there isn't a damn thing you can do about it. Take the very first level of Super Star Wars, for example. Just look at all the Womp Rats. It's no wonder bullseyeing them was so easy. It's like fish in a barrel. You couldn't move for them. Or the stage that always screws me up, inside the Sandcrawler, where, in a scene that was obviously cut from the film, Luke slaughters countless Jawas Mandalorian style. There's flame jets in the walls, laser turrets in the ceiling, gonk droids that somehow learn to defend themselves. These dumb force fields I still have no idea how to adequately get past, or whatever the fuck this is. Oh god, kill it! Kill it with fire! With all this, I'm always a dead man walking before even getting to these annoying turret things that you need to use perfect timing to avoid getting shot by. And then after all that, there's a boss fight with another weird creature called the Jowenko. All this, and it's just the Sandcrawler stage. You see what I mean about how they just throw everything at you? It's bonkers. Still a hell of a lot of fun though. Yeah, maybe I'm just a sucker for anything Star Wars, but I can't stay mad at it. Especially when you get the Seeker upgrade and just spam fire everything into oblivion. Yeah, somehow more useful than the lightsaber you get in the next stage. After you find Old Ben, you can switch between the blaster and the lightsaber, and are sent to face an army of Tusken Raiders and raging Banthas. But the lightsaber is just a death sentence, because you can't hit the Raiders with it without getting poked in retaliation. Yeah, sorry Kenobi. I don't think so. Like a wise old nerf herder once said, hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side. Oh wait, I guess he hasn't said that yet. Not until we meet up with Chewie and engage in a bar fight. I don't think Han's tip is going to cover the damages. And the boss fight is the creature in the hollow chest game, which is a little random. The bosses in these games are probably the most fascinating part to me. It's a trip to see what random crap they'll come up with to fit with the movies. You have obvious choices, like the Sarlacc and the Death Star tractor beam generator. They're almost a given in the context of the films, but the Imperial Defense Droid, some crappy G.I. Joe toy, a mutant Womp Rat. You know what's weird is the trash compactor scene is missing entirely from this game. Could have had a showdown with the Dianoga instead of maintenance droid. Regardless, with a saved princess, destroyed tractor beam, and a dead Obi-Wan, it's of course the Death Star attack. That, of course, is entirely in Mode 7. Of course. God, these levels are the bane of my existence. I'm still pissed about how hard that damn Temple of Doom stage is. The Mode 7 stages in these games basically boil down to having free reign of a vehicle and given a checklist of things to destroy, which is difficult to do because, again, it's near impossible to avoid all the attacks coming your way. I just push a direction on the D-pad and hope for the best. The trench run itself isn't so bad though, once you learn that you can shoot down the projectiles themselves. Basically, you just have to survive until you reach the exhaust port, where... Oh god, the music is so intense. Wait, what button's the torpedo? Oh shit, which button is it? Man, that was stressful. At least this game actually rewards you for beating it with some great music. No thanks? Oh man, that's another thing. Yeah, typically games have easy, normal, and hard difficulty settings, but these games are so difficult, and they know it, that instead of going from easy to normal, it goes from easy to brave. We need to move on to Empire, but before we do, there's just one more thing I'd like to point out about Super Star Wars. Luke's face on the title screen is kind of fucked up. Things don't get any easier in Super Empire, though they were nice enough to put in a password system this time around. But again, just look at this chaos. Didn't know Hoth had such a vibrant ecosystem. Porcupines, electric eels, over 100 wampas that can go to hell with their cheap-ass frost breath. And, of course, Luke's trusty Tauntaun with its own gargantuan health bar. Not that that saves it any from the elements. And I thought they smelled bad on the outside. Echo Base is interesting because up to this point in the games, I've just been flailing about with reckless abandon and hoping I reach the end of each stage before I die. No strategy or planning, except for switching to the blaster every now and then to make space from the wampas. But in these stages, that kind of playing will get you nowhere. It's actually better to take your time and slowly and methodically remove every obstacle. You know, maybe these games are actually just super easy. Yeah, it's just a matter of being patient and taking your time. Never mind, the next level is a Mode 7 stage. What's cool is that this stage is essentially a 16-bit version of the first stage of Shadows of the Empire, with worse controls. Though I'll never get used to cabling AT-ATs in any game setting. Very delicate process, that. Maybe it's just hard for me to be motivated in a battle that I know my side is gonna lose. As poor Han is stuck in Echo Base in the next level as it's being invaded. And this time there's no lightsaber to deflect attacks. Wait, it just now occurred to me. Why the hell am I fighting laser turrets and flame vents installed inside the Rebel base? What kind of chicken shit outfit are these rebels running here? In the Luke segment, the Empire hasn't even invaded yet. This is just how the pilots get to their snow speeders. It's weird, you know? People had their gripes about Alden Ehrenreich playing Han in the Solo movie, but with this character sprite I can totally see it. But yeah, it's the same old run and shoot with Han. The Seeker upgrade being your best friend when it comes to fighting madness with madness, if you can hang on to it and not die. But they really changed things up as far as Luke's gameplay. His Jedi training on Dagobah, symbolized by force powers you can find scattered throughout the stages. You've got the standard lightsaber throw, deflect, levitate, the ability to slow time. Oh, and here I thought Luke had already learned that one, powered by the sheer amount of shit going on screen at one time. And by far the most useful ability, Force Heal, which is necessary to defeat the boss on Dagobah, who takes way too many hits to kill. But seriously, you can heal yourself at will in this game. All it costs is some energy from the newly added power bar that itself can be refilled with pickups. Honestly, anything to keep a run going without having to restart a level over is just... it's just great. But then, just as soon as I get it, I'm playing as Han again. Oh man, but I mean, come on. Han's got some force powers in him, right? Fucking J.J. Abrams seemed to think so in that one scene that made no fucking sense. No, you know what? It's cool. Han does have his own force heal ability. Yeah, it's called camping endless enemy spawners. I mean, might as well take advantage of there being no time limit. And thanks to taking my sweet-ass time, I learned that there's hidden health and upgrades throughout all the levels. You just have to reveal them first. Yeah, I don't know, Han. I think Lando may not want you here. Yeah, call it a hunch. Not that I blame him. I mean, the very first thing Chewie does when he gets there is go on an Ugnaught rampage. They probably deserved it, though. Ugnaughts are assholes. So as far as bosses go in this game, the highlights have been a raging giant probe droid and a one-on-one brawl with the entire head of an AT-AT. But by far the wildest is Han facing off against the entire carbon freeze chamber. Yeah, I'm calling shenanigans here. I mean, how does beating this thing to progress make any damn sense? How does losing to it preventing progress make any sense? Well, if the game's gonna be like that, then I'll just have to use an exploit that I found by pure accident. Man, I love video games. Ah shit, the game's on to me. Now I have to face down bounty hunters like Bosk and Bosk. Oh, and also Bosk. The hell? How many Bosks are there? There's also multiple Dengars, Zuckuses, and his partner 4LOM. You know, those guys. That's their names. You know, they were in that meeting in Empire with Vader and... Fucking read a book, people! And just like in Shadows of the Empire, you have to face down IG-88. Multiple IG-88s. Speaking of Shadows of the Empire, the final boss is, of course, the Fett Man. But you don't just fight him. Oh no, you also have to fight the Slave One as well. Oh, wait, my bad, I forgot. Slaves aren't allowed to exist in Star Wars. The hell is with Star Wars games and having you go toe-to-toe with this damn ship anyway? I typically have a hard enough time just fighting the pilot. Now that's a scene I wish they had in the movie. Chewbacca felling the Slave One with perfectly executed pirouettes. This is all a pretty far cry from the movie. I mean, everybody seems to be A-okay right now. Boba Fett's defeated, Han destroyed the carbon chamber. Don't see why Luke would need to come in to save the day. And yeah, I'm only saying that because it's another damn Mode 7 stage. These poor cloud cars aren't even working for the Empire, but I gotta shoot them down anyway. Yeah, maybe the Ugnaughts put him up to it. Then it's off to face Vader and his entourage of red stormtroopers. Man, it sure is difficult having to go through all these obstacles. They sure cranked the difficulty up for the last few stages, I'll tell you what. Yeah, I guess I deserved that. The final confrontation with Vader is pretty easy once you get the strategy down. That strategy being hit him once or twice every couple of minutes and then hold the deflect button down for dear fucking life. It is nice of the game to hide force bar refills and the debris Vader tosses around. After all the crap the game has put me through, and it's allowing me to heal endlessly during the final boss. Yeah, gee, thanks. And that is Super Empire Strikes Back. The first game was hard. This one, you know, despite the new healing abilities, was definitely harder. How much you want to bet Return of the Jedi continues the pattern? Well, we're off to a good start. Still kept the password system, though, and there's no time limit again. Yeah, okay, game. Got nothing else going on? First, though, I have to stop and appreciate the main menu for a while. Oh my god, even the select sound effect is amazing. Anyway, Luke is back in black with his ever-useful spin around and kill everything double jump, and his force powers. Though they noticeably left out the levitate ability. Huh. Yeah, I wonder why. You can also pick Chewie or Leia in her Bouch the Bounty Hunter disguise, who also has the spinny attack. But honestly, just pick Chewie every time. He's the fucking man. Yeah, it's like I'm back in Mos Eisley Cantina, wrecking house again. Hey, let go of me. Oh, come on. How cheap of a move is this? I thought these guys were called Gran, not Grab. Am I right? Sorry, that was... God, that was just awful. For real, though, why can't they just let the Wookiee win? So, of course, there's a level in the Rancor pit, and I wanted to stay true to the movie and beat the Rancor boss as Luke. But you can't get anywhere near the stupid thing without taking hits. I can't even glean any advice from the demo screen, because the player in that just fucking gave up. So let's just pretend that in the movie, Han shows up at the last second and saves Luke by blasting the Rancor in the face a couple hundred times. Also, to stay true to the movie, I couldn't resist facing Jabba as Slave Leia. Oh, sorry, Indentured Servitude Leia. In this outfit, she gets Chewie's overpowered Whirling Dervish attack, just destroying all who stand in her way. Are you ready for the best part about this game, though? I mean, honestly, I think this was the only Star Wars game we owned as a kid, but even back then, these next levels were like my all-time favorite. Wicket the Ewok gets his own level in this game, and it is glorious. I'm not joking either. It's so cool how the game changes things up so much and gives you such a wide variety of characters to play as, all of which have their own play styles. Wicket, equipped with a bow, can use his own arrows as a platform. Plus, I like the Ewoks in return, okay? Fucking come at me. I feel a little intimidated by some of these enemies, though. Ewoks live a pretty harsh life if these are the kind of predators they typically contend with. The stormtroopers seem like a joke in comparison, especially since they go through the trouble of pleading with you.
Stop! Stop!
It's kind of adorable. Fun's over after Wicket's stage, and it's back to boring old slicing people in half with a lightsaber.
Stop!
This stage in particular gave me a headache. In this game, the level design seemed to have gotten more maze-like, but it hadn't bothered me too much up to this point. You can still rely on heading to the right and reaching the end of the stage eventually, but in this stage, the right side of the map isn't how you progress. You have to go up. And how you're supposed to go up is very specific and very easy to just miss entirely. Oh yeah, and on the Death Star shield generator level, yeah, don't pick Leia in her Rebel Commander outfit. She doesn't get any useful abilities this time around and is next to useless. But back to Luke as he makes his way slowly but surely to Vader and the Emperor. This feels pretty familiar. Of course, the real final boss this time is the Emperor himself. And he is as tough as he should be. Though it's not so much him that's the problem, it's the stupid stage itself. The floor can be destroyed, and there's an instant death pit below, which makes for a delicate balancing act of attacking and dodging the Emperor while simultaneously making sure you have footing below you at all times. It also kind of forces you to be quick, because the whole time you're aware that places to stand on are gradually disappearing. But somehow, some way, I beat the Emperor. That's right, he's dead. He fell from a great height, exploded, then exploded again. There is absolutely no way he's coming back. Yeah, but anyway, that was Super Return of the Jedi. Certainly a difficult game, like the other two, but I don't know, I think comparatively they both... Oh no. I forgot. The game isn't over. There's still one final stage where the Falcon destroys the Death Star's main reactor. And it's in Mode 7. Good lord, it's nauseating. The first half isn't so bad, just shoot the TIE fighters. But after said reactor destruction is when the shit really gets silly, because you have a blazing inferno chasing you as you traverse this claustrophobic clusterfuck of pixelated puke. You have to hold down the boost button, which, yeah, that's a thing. If you don't figure that out fast enough, you die within seconds. But while doing that, you're expected to make lightning-quick maneuvers as the tunnels twist and narrow. And if you bump into something, the Falcon bounces around like Lando sloshed out of his fucking mind. One mistake, one simple little oopsie, and it's basically game over, start back at the beginning. I swear the hit detection is so random. So many times I took a hit and I could swear there was nothing to justify me taking the damage. Not that there's really any logical way to determine where anything is in this mess. But you know what? I got through it. After death, after death, after death, I somehow managed it by pure memorization of the entire tunnel. And now I can safely say I beat Super Return of the Jedi on the SNES. Right? Oh, thank God. Like I was saying, this game compared to the other two is harder in some regards, but strangely easier in others. I can't explain exactly why, but I definitely had fewer roadblocks to clear in this game than Empire and Super Star Wars. This is probably thanks to the wider variety of playstyles to choose from in each level. Or maybe since this was the last of the games, the developers finally found that sweet spot in the gameplay. Yeah, but difficult or not, it doesn't really matter. I mean, these are still really fun games to play and are just awesome adaptations of 3 awesome movies. The selectable heroes, the wacky boss designs, the utter chaos of everything going on screen at any given moment. Yeah, it's a good time. But for real though, next time we'll talk about some Disney games. And good ones too. Yeah. Probably. Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Aladdin on the SNES is, hands down, one of the best movie-based games. And I'm sure the one on the Genesis was great too, but I never played it. We're talking side-scrolling platforming goodness by the one and only Capcom. It follows the movie relatively faithfully, the first level having you run through the Agrabah marketplace. Yeah, it's kind of weird how many SNES games I've played that have you run through a Middle Eastern-themed bazaar. That number being more than one. But just the controls are so smooth, and the mechanics lend themselves to Aladdin's character. Hopping off of enemies, acrobating off poles, really gives the sense you're a plucky street orphan just getting by. You know how it goes. Gotta eat to live, gotta steal to eat, gotta throw apples at palace guards. No? Whatever. After the market, it's a trip through the Cave of Wonders, which, for some reason, the music in this stage always resonated with me. Even though it may be one of the few songs that isn't from the movie, they somehow managed to create original songs that still fit the vibe of Aladdin. Oh yeah, if you catch a golden scarab during a level, you get to spin the genie wheel at the end, which basically guarantees extra lives or health. Which is why I already have 2 extra heart containers, only a couple stages in. This game gives extra health away like candy. Not that extra hearts really do me much good. The bats and animated swords I can handle. It's the gaping holes into the void that are generally what trip me up. That and lava. Yeah, extra hearts don't seem to help with that either. When I was a kid, this lava chase would give me hardcore anxiety. But now as an adult, it's the genie level that takes place afterwards. A lot of areas where simple mistakes will kill you. This game isn't hard per se. In fact, it's arguably pretty damn easy, but it certainly has its challenging parts. I like the face Genie makes when you die. It's not just shock and horror, there's dismay in that expression as well. I mean, he did just indirectly kill Aladdin by putting him in this situation out of, I guess, fun. Poor Al didn't even get one wish in yet. The other major diversion from the movie is when Abu falls off of carpet and ends up in an ancient pyramid where the boss is Abu possessed by an Egyptian mask? What the hell was that about? And why does it only take one hit to finish the fight? It's like there didn't even need to be a boss fight to begin with. But after that level is the best part of the game, the carpet ride scene with Aladdin and Jasmine. But there's no enemies, no tidal waves of molten lava, it's just collectibles. This game, again, is pretty easy to beat in one sitting, especially for Capcom standards, and there's absolutely no need for the player to get a breather like this. But just the fact that they made a level where you can't die, just collect, I don't know, it just feels like a really nice way to adapt the movie to a game. This is the upturn in the plot, where everything is going great. And the game symbolizes that with a stress-free romp where you enjoy the graphics and, of course, the masterfully renditioned remake of A Whole New World. Then in the story, we've got action again, as Aladdin gets sent to the ends of the earth. And it's here I'm expecting a snow-themed level, right? Maybe have you run away from the rolling tower, like in the movie. At the end of it, you save Abu, who's buried in the snow. But no, the next level is back in Agrabah to face Jafar. Huh. Seemed like a pretty obvious part of the movie to expand upon and make into a side-scrolling stage, but okay. How did Aladdin get back to Agrabah in the movie? It's one of those things that isn't really explained. How would they have known how to get back? Which direction to go? Even the game just immediately has Aladdin back in Agrabah, the whole rocketed to the ends of the earth still being only a minor inconvenience for our hero. Of course, the game ends with a knockdown dragout against Jafar, both man and reptile. I remember back in the day I found the password for the final boss stage in a Nintendo Power, so for whatever reason I would rent this game all the time just to use the password to skip straight to the boss and beat the game. I was a weird kid. Again, I'm gonna have to reiterate just how easy this game is, but that's only because it just still blows my mind how much this contrasts from the games Capcom is famous for. It's like, I know the Genie bonus wheel between stages isn't Capcom's way of apologizing for making the Yellow Devil, but I choose to believe it is. I have to wonder if the accessibility of this game helped in making it the beloved title it is. That and the music, gameplay, design, the movie it's based on, yeah, I'm sure those help too. That, or if it being based off of a kid's movie had something to do with it being easy in the first place. I don't know, would Capcom have been that considerate? Nah. But I suppose I should enjoy how easy the game is while it lasts. Because the next game I want to talk about is The Lion King for the SNES. It's the total opposite of the Aladdin game in that people seem to be fond of it despite it being hard as balls. This time made by Virgin Interactive Entertainment and Westwood Studios. Don't be fooled by the words Virgin and Disney on that title screen. This game is out to fucking destroy you. What gets me is how deviously it sideswipes you with how hard it really is. The first level is super simple and super short. Just your basic platforming and squashing things. But then level 2 not only introduces you to instant death pits, but also turbo tunnel segments requiring ninja-like reflexes, precision platforming and coordination, and a fucking swinging monkey puzzle. This is where I personally gave up on this game as a kid. I remember I played it at a neighbor's and we spent what must have been like hours on this one fucking level. Oh yeah, man, Lion King on SNES. That game was awesome. A lot of fond memories. Ugh, you better believe I'm playing this on easy mode, because the biggest difference to normal is it gives you more lives, which honestly is just a quality of life upgrade. both figuratively and literally, and not necessarily a way to make the game any easier. Yes, game, I would prefer to have more chances per run to figure out the layout of a level and learn its bullshit mechanics without having to restart the whole game over again. Call it whatever you want. But in all seriousness, these hippos can suck my asshole. It makes no sense. What's the trick here? What am I not getting? The best I could come up with is to aim Simba at the leftmost portion of the hippo's cheeks, but even that doesn't seem to work a lot of the time. I swear, every single time the game asks me to reliably swing off an object, I get a fucking aneurysm. Look at this! Also, this dumb monkey took me forever to beat. Hardest boss fight in the Lion King game, and it's a monkey that wasn't even in the movie. But after that, things really start to pick up as you finally get to play as grown-up Simba, smacking the shit out of all who stand in his way. This is just a palate cleanser, though. Turns out you need more than just a firm pimp hand to rise the ranks of kinghood. Makes sense. Can't claw through lava, after all. Man, Uncle Scar really let the Serengeti go during his tenure. This level features the second hardest boss in this game, a volcano. That is, after you realize that this thing is sort of a boss. Maybe not so much a boss, but a timed endurance trial. Every time one of these goes off, rocks fall from the ceiling, and you just don't get hit. After a while, the various vents get plugged up, and you win. I don't know if this is the right way to avoid the rocks, but I would crouch on a non-erupting vent and avoid the rocks semi-successfully. It worked for the most part, but felt really awkward and clunky, so I don't know if it was the right way to go about it. I'm just grasping at straws here at this point. This cat's just about spent all of his 9 lives. Well, okay, not really. I mean, look, I've been save scumming a lot on an emulator just to get to this point, so it's more like 30 plus lives if you really wanted to keep track, which I don't. Thank God it's the showdown with Scar shortly after this. 3 times, with swing segments in between. Badass. Okay, this is embarrassing, but at first I didn't know how you're supposed to beat Scar. It shouldn't be surprising because the game doesn't really explicitly tell you what you're supposed to do, but I should have sensed something was up. I resigned to simply slapping the shit out of Scar, as you do, and even found a pretty reliable rhythm of slapping him and then leaping over to the other side to do it again. Problem is, this method, and I counted, takes roughly 100 hits for him to finally fuck off to the next segment. And, like an idiot, I just assume that's how the game was in its own screwed up way. Until the final confrontation, when I finally realized the game wasn't ending. Scar was simply refusing to turn into hyena food. Turns out the real way to beat Scar is to throw him, which I knew was a thing, but didn't know how I got it to work. It would just happen randomly. You have to use a panting animation as your cue to jump on top of him and push B or something. Not only is this necessary to toss Scar off of Pride Rock and finally finish the game, but is all you really have to do to end the previous 2 confrontations without resorting to, smacking him 100 times. So again, I feel like an idiot for not realizing I was doing it wrong. But with a skip, a hop, and a wrestling move, I finished The Lion King. Where, again, I have to wonder where the love and nostalgia for it came from. And maybe I'm just generalizing here, but I feel like I can't be the only one who later sought this game out to play again and expecting it to be fun, only to just be completely baffled by the difficulty. I mean, it is fun and certainly well made. Again, animation, design, the movie it's based on, they're all great, and is another game I'd rent all the time to play, but I wouldn't wish this kind of frustrating gameplay on my worst enemy. Now the third Disney SNES game I'd rent all the time was The Jungle Book. Yeah, that old classic, which is designed in such a way that certainly sets itself apart from the other 2, and that design being a chaotic and fast-paced mess with tiny 1-pixel projectiles and climbables and platforms that blend into the background. It's impossible to tell where you are and where danger is coming from before BAM! Welcome to the jungle, motherfucker! Oh, Baloo, for God's sake, save me! Oh, thanks, Baloo. This game design actually reminds me of Earthworm Jim. Probably because they were both developed by David Perry. At least the animation is nice and fluid. I like Mowgli's little dance between stages. But again, coming from the faithful and smooth Aladdin and Lion King games, this is just such a weird change of pace, and it feels kind of alien compared to the other two. Like, I'm not learning how to get past each level, I'm just running for my life and hoping I make it to the end with it intact. I think the lack of anything from the source material has a lot to do with the eeriness of the game as well. It has the music, I'm Mowgli. Hey look, it's that elephant kid acting as a checkpoint. But everything else feels so random. Take the enemies you face, for example. I mean, I get they had to take liberties with it. The Jungle Book doesn't lend itself to a lot of good video game obstacles, other than maybe monkeys and snakes. But spitting plants, piranhas, anteaters, anthills. There's even an owl that I'm pretty sure is straight out of Bambi. There is a boss fight against Kaa, who is... yeah, he's pretty damn tough. It's his stupid homing projectiles. I don't know how you're supposed to dodge them. I found a hidden invincibility power-up right before you face him, but it only lasts so long. So I just tried to pelt him with as much as I could before it ran out. I did eventually beat him this way, but I just barely slithered by. It was like a roll of the dice, and Kaa rolled snake eyes. Oh good, more swinging mechanics. Maybe I've just gotten worse at this shit as I've grown older, but holy hell is it frustrating. And talking, singing jungle creatures, I'll accept, but a giant parrot that Mowgli can ride on? Well, that's just going too far. So the farthest into the game I could handle was up to King Louie's boss fight, who was a joke compared to Kaa. All you have to do is hit the monkeys playing instruments up top to distract him. But then after that, it's one of those auto-scrolling levels that requires more precision platforming, and yeah, I think we're gonna move on. Compared to Lion King and Aladdin, this game is certainly an oddball of the Disney SNES games I've had a history of playing, which makes it extra weird that it's included in the Switch bundle. There are at least 2 other Disney games they could have put there instead, but as we'll see, they're a bit odd too. Take Pinocchio, please. Again, the animation and design are amazing and pay a lot of attention to detail, which makes sense given this game was again made by Virgin Interactive and Disney Interactive, back when attention to detail was something Disney still gave a shit about. Pinocchio's side-scrolling journey focuses on his mission given by the Blue Fairy to obtain basic human virtues, truth, bravery, and unselfishness. So after a weird romp through the streets... What the hell just happened? Pinocchio achieves the Badge of Truth. Well, sure, yeah, it's hard not to be truthful when you're already this confused. Then it's the level where Jiminy beats the crap out of moths. Very integral to the plot. But next, it's Pinocchio performing for Stromboli's puppet show. It's a dirt simple memorization mini-game, but it is a nice way to incorporate the scene from the movie into a game. This adaptation at least attempted to do more than just straight-up platforming. But then Pleasure Island happens, and look, for real this time, I don't know what the hell is going on. This stage you just follow the asshole kid to the end of the level, with little to no obstacles, and then, I guess, take a balloon and fly back to the beginning of the stage? What was the point of that? You could have taken that whole bit out and have lost nothing. Or at least put something here to do, like the Pleasure Island roller coaster, which requires a lot of memorization because you have to be lightning quick to react in time for a lot of these obstacles. And every time you die, you have to watch this animation. You're not allowed to skip it. This, I can only assume, is the game's idea of punishment for dying, and given how often and frequently death can occur during the roller coaster segment, yeah, it can get really annoying really fast. But after surviving that, all hell breaks loose, and you have to help a half-donkey Pinocchio fight his way through child traffickers. Huh. Hey, you know, after all these years of watching that movie, and it only now just sunk in. And what joy. It's another case of the walls and platforms existing depending on the arbitrary whim of the level designer. Ah, yeah, see, that's a wall apparently. Oh, yep, can't jump up there. Obviously. The end of the level has a showdown against the coachman guy, who, much like Scar, just needs the old Disney villain vertical drop. Did the blue fairy just reward Pinocchio for killing a guy? Nothing proves bravery more than taking another person's life, I guess. After a brief underwater level, which isn't the worst one I've had to play, we come face to face with Monstro. Man, that's terrifying. Naturally, the next level is collecting firewood to smoke out Monstro. At least, I think that's what you're supposed to be doing. I've been all up and down this shipwreck labyrinth accumulating wood, but then I reached the bottom and ended the level? So, I guess I collected enough? Did I have to collect any at all? I don't know, does the amount I've collected affect Monstro in the last stage when you paddle away and dodge obstacles or something? Whatever. I beat Pinocchio on the SNES within less than an hour, and only had a few challenges to overcome. Yeah, this game's pretty stupid easy, and not in the sense where Aladdin was easy for how much it gave you for free. It's more easy in the sense that it feels wrong for how little effort it took. So much so that I played it again on a harder difficulty, just to see if it would be better. And it turns out the game changes quite a bit between difficulties. Each level seems to add more obstacles and lengthens the distance to the goal. The first level, for instance, now has me jumping on rooftops and avoiding bullies in a maze of alleyways and streets. Jiminy's row with the moths now drop other insects to interfere with the fight. I can only assume Jiminy owes these guys money or something. But then, Stromboli's, I got stuck because I think the game broke. No matter what I do at this part, I get tomatoes thrown at me. Spin, right, spin, left, kick. Spin, right, spin, left, kick. What the hell? Maybe the other kick? What the hell do you want from me, game? Alright, the last game I wanted to cover is Beauty and the Beast. This one developed by Probe Entertainment and published by Hudson Soft. So this time we're really talking the black sheep of Disney SNES games, and it certainly shows. It's still a side-scrolling platformer, taking the role of Beast as he survives traversing his own damn castle, and it has some of the same problems I've complained about in the other games, but this one has its own special set of jank as well, like the platforming itself. It's hard to explain, but Beast is weirdly magnetized to the edge of platforms and does a hop whenever getting too close. I've never seen anything like this before in a game, and it makes precision jumping a pain in the ass. Or how about the time limit you get each level? Yeah, the rose is an indication of how much time you have left, which in and of itself is fine. I just really don't like being timed. But you get plenty of time to make mistakes and get through each level, except for the boss fight with this gargoyle. Yeah, had to create some new boss fights to spice things up. Of course there's the wolves, Gaston, and, I mean, a gargoyle makes sense. The castle is alive, but why do I have to fight it multiple times? It wouldn't be so bad if, again, the damn time limit didn't keep killing me. Also, why are the continues Cogsworth's continues? Why do you have to roar to make platforms appear? Or freeze bats in place to use as platforms? Why are the rats so damn fast? Why is this game playing Kill the Beast when I'm only on the 3rd stage? What, is the lynch mob already after me? Or Gaston's song playing when trying to save Belle from the wolves? Okay, alright, here's a fun bit. It's a little mini game where you catch snowballs with Belle, like in the movie. Wait, I lost? I lost the game because I didn't catch a fucking snowball? What, did she not fall in love with the Beast because he has shitty hand-eye coordination? What kind of sense does that make? Yeah, you know what? She can have the fucking library. Yeah, and I hope the disappearing platforms and gargoyle boss give her a fucking brain embolism. And there you have it. You fall down the rabbit hole of Disney SNES games and you still find garbage. In fact, the Aladdin game, well, it turns out it's the diamond in the rough, in my opinion. It's hands down the best game of the 5 I've covered. Not to say the others are bad. I still had fun playing Pinocchio, The Jungle Book, and even The Lion King again, but it's just... those damn hippo tails. Yeah, well, one praise I can give to every single one of these games, though, is their 16-bit renditions of classic Disney songs, man. I mean, they're all just spot on. At least that's something each game was consistent with. So now I've covered a plethora of movie adaptations. Some are actually pretty great. Not just as game adaptations of classic films, but just as solid games in general. While others, they're certainly there. Yeah, there's still one more I want to discuss though. And for that, we're gonna have to get old school. No, not that one. No, that's too old school. Nope, but getting warmer.
You've been Back to the Future at the movies. Now go there on your NES. In Back to the Future 2 and 3, a double mission to save the future. LJN, Back to the Future 2 and 3. Get it while there's still time.
When I was little, I remember my family had an NES, but since I also grew up with an SNES, I generally spent more time playing with that as a kid than the original system. But in fairness, the games we had were the likes of Marble Madness and Dick Tracy, so yeah, my little poo brain didn't have the patience for that shit. I tried to get enjoyment out of these games though. I sure did try. Of course, I later grew up to appreciate the old classics and learned to love their masochistic difficulty, but it just wasn't for little kid me. Eventually, the NES would simply vanish from our household, probably ending up being donated like my collection of Goosebumps books and Ninja Turtle action figures. Yeah, thanks, Mom and Dad. But here I am, undisclosed amount of years later, and I bought an NES. Yeah, I figured I'd relive my past a little. And with it, attempt a game that I played a little bit as a kid, but never really tried to beat. Back to the Future, Part 2 and 3. Yeah, don't ask why all of our games were so fucking niche. And it's a wonder I didn't end up a Sega kid after growing up with games like this. Anyway. In true LJN movie adaptation fashion, any actual connection to the film is tenuous at best, but they did go so far as to incorporate movie elements into the background, so that's neat. But overall, it's like the developers just wanted to make a mediocre Mario clone, and the licensing was just an afterthought. I'm not just saying Mario clone because it's a side-scrolling platformer. The enemies are straight out of the Mario franchise. These hamburgers with eyes, yeah, they're your traditional Goombas. Snakes in the sewer pipes, they act an awful lot like piranha plants. And the Spinies are, well, they're just straight up Spinies. who hilariously don't hurt to jump on. And every now and again you can find a hoverboard that acts like an invincibility star. The actual stars the enemies drop are your fireball upgrades. I don't know what these pretzel things are supposed to represent as a Mario enemy though, nor the birds, also known as the worst video game enemy ever designed by man.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
God, why does it have to make that noise the whole time it's on screen? I can feel my frickin' ears bleeding. Then there's these dudes who shoot at you, who I assume are supposed to be Biff, because you can totally see the resemblance, right? But I've decided that actually it's Mr. Strickland chastising me for being a slacker. Also, this game isn't linear. You don't just go right, you can and will have to go left too. See, the map is separated by these doors that indicate whether you're going up or down. The doors also have these circle things on them, which I think are meant to be another indicator of where you are or where you're going, but I haven't been able to figure that one out. There's nothing else to indicate where you are except for the occasional landmarks in the background, so getting lost is just inevitable. Why did they make the map so huge and convoluted? How am I supposed to find anything and know where to go? Another thing that sets this game apart from Mario is that the controls, unsurprisingly, are total ass. There's no getting used to them. Even after hours of playing, I still die to simple jumps and unpredictable enemies. What the hell was I thinking? Starting a series on movie adaptations. We all knew it wasn't going to end well. And here it is. This is what it was all building up to. This is your epic climax. Man, if I could, I would go back and stop this whole series from starting in the first fucking place. Hey, wait a second. Wasn't there mention of finding a remote to call the DeLorean? Which is weird because the DeLorean is what drops you back off into the stage after you die. Why can't I just use it? Well, like anything else in this game, it isn't simple, nor is it ever spelled out for you. You have to find the drive-in theater where the remote is sitting, as part of the background. Then you have to open a side menu with select to use said remote, and hey, look at that. Alright, let's ditch this shitty timeline and act like this never happened. This can be a tough fight, but once you get the tells figured out and learn the magic of rolling, which I had been neglecting this whole playthrough, he's as good as dust. And you get a nice little credit sequence with Indian Co. riding off into the sunset. Please ignore that final score. This, in my opinion, is the epitome of a good video game movie. The hell? Don't panic. I've come from the future to warn you. Warn me of what? You gotta stop playing movie-based games, man. We go down this rabbit hole of shit, and now we are now playing Back to the Future 2 and 3 on the NES, and well, it ends bad, man. Real bad. Yeah, okay. Oh. Well, really? Yeah, I need a beer. Huh. That was easy. Didn't really think this part through. Well, since I'm here. After you found the DeLorean, the game really opens up. And by that, I mean it's the same convoluted map duplicated 3 times over with minor changes. Biff's 1985, 2015, and 1955. The most significant change is the enemies. In Biff's 1985, there's dinosaurs running amok for some reason. But in the past, it's clouds that rain frogs and hovering cameras. Now, that makes sense. Oh hey, maybe the birds are... Nope, still birds and still annoying. So what's the point of this game? How do you beat it? Well, believe it or not, there's a story, and according to it, Biff hid items from different time periods behind locked doors. Marty's task, I guess, is to find these items and put them back in their proper place. And this somehow will help him get the sports almanac and return the space-time continuum back to normal. Whatever. Yeah, I got my own space-time continuum to worry about, because can't help but notice that I'm losing opacity. Oh yeah, I guess if I don't finish the movie game reviews, that means you don't exist in the future. Aw, hell. Well then, I take it back. Do the review. No, I'm not playing that game again. What possessed you to want to play it in the first place? I just wanted to relive my past. What? Never mind. The only thing left to do is to go back. Back to the present. Yeah, okay. How? Well, I mean, the game brought me here. Well, sucks to be you. Wow. What an asshole. And get a haircut. Okay, this shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Basically, to beat the game, I have to find keys that randomly shoot out of enemy corpses. When I eventually catch one, I can enter these Twilight Zone doors, which turns the game into a weird Atari-style minigame. And this is where the game could get really difficult and frustrating. Well, more frustrating, as some of these minigames demand precision and timing, yet somehow the controls in these segments are even more gimped than before. Though I'll admit some of these are pretty clever and satisfying to figure out, like the ones where you're pursued by Martys that copy your every move. It took me a hot minute to figure these ones out, but I felt like a boss when I finally did. Unlike the ones where the clocks you have to collect disappear, or the ones that require jumping over enemies on a conveyor belt, or the ones with the dots that trickle down the stage, or these fucking cacti that I somehow can't jump over. Anyway, after the minigame, I get one of the random items Biff dislocated from their proper era. Like this squeegee? My next task is to take these items to their proper place and time. But where they go, of course, can't be simple or self-explanatory. No, all the locations are hidden in nonsensical places like sewer pipes and floor grates you have to push the up button on to enter. Yeah, you stand on a grate and push up, and sometimes it'll send you to a hidden room. Not only that, but once in the room I have to solve a word jumble to figure out what item belongs in the room. You know, typically word jumbles don't bother me. Most of these I can guess at a glance, but then there's words like this. The hell is this supposed to be? Prime cut chop? Oh, turns out it's computer chip. Of course. The tiny pixel images can make it hard to figure out what the item's supposed to be as well. The worst one for me was this. Do you know what it is? It's a roulette wheel. I mean, I could see that now that I know what it's supposed to be, but when you don't know offhand, it makes trying to figure out what the jumbled word is meant to be that much more of a shot in the dark. But the biggest obstacle is figuring out where the hell to go and where everything is hidden, so get yourself a piece of paper and be ready to draw the most cluttered and confusing map in existence. Once you've done that, it's just a simple matter of throwing that shit in the fucking garbage and looking it up online instead. Drawing maps on paper? The hell kind of dork does that? Oh yeah, I'm dying. Doc, get me out of here. Now today I thought we'd do something special and relive my past a little bit. Talk about an old PlayStation 2 game by the name of, yes, let's see, it's Pirates Legend of Black Cat. Back in my day, cat was spelled with a C. Jeez. Oh man, time travel gives me indigestion. Wait. Where the hell am I? I thought... Oh my god, I traveled to the future, not the present. Oh hey, well, at least I know I make it past 50. 50? I'm only 37 years old. Yeesh. Well, whatever. I've still got a shitty game to beat. Okay, new time period. Same annoying rat maze full of these goddamn birds. So the, quote, present has dinosaurs, the past has frogs, and the future has monkeys. this kind of stuff shouldn't surprise me at this point. Also, I thought it was just a glitch at first, but I started encountering other me's. One I accidentally shot, and then I died. Oh yeah, I guess the movies do mention the dangers of encountering your alternate self. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I take back my initial complaints about this game having little to do with Back to the Future. I mean, it has the DeLorean and the hoverboard in it, which is more than what you'd usually expect from an LJN property. I mean, 2 assets that represent an object from the movie from which the game is based on? Color me fucking impressed. Doc and Jennifer are even referenced, but only in the title of the weird minigames. Fun at Jennifer's house. Huh. What kind of weird shit did Marty and Jennifer get up to? So after a while, it's become obvious that I haven't even scratched the surface when it comes to the amount of locked doors and hidden rooms needed to get all these items. And it turns out the maps for each time period can't be traversed in their entirety without using time travel to get to certain locations. There's some locations in, say, 1985 that you can't reach unless you go there in 1955 and travel to the future from there. Or only one time period having the doorway that leads up or down into that section of the map. The game even tries to be cute and incorporates planting seeds in the past and then jumping to the future to reach some of the doors. Basically, what I'm trying to say is this game hadn't even begun to become a maze. It incorporates time travel as well. What's worse is to do this requires you to go hunting for fuel just to time travel. Yeah, these uranium pickups or whatever are actually super fucking useful. You need 10 fuel to travel to adjacent time periods, or 17 if you want to go from the future all the way to the past, and vice versa. Having to collect anything in this game can be a major ball ache, but if you get a game over, you automatically start with 10 fuel. And you better believe I took advantage of that shit. Yeah, a game over giving you a benefit is pretty strange, but the game still has its own special way to fucking you over when you do. See, a game over doesn't completely reset your entire progress, thank God. But it does get rid of any keys you had, meaning it's back to running around and finding an enemy that drops a key and making it to a locked door before running out of lives and having to go back and do it over again. Oh fuck. I gotta get my game face on. Alright, no more fucking around. It's time to go hardcore on this bastard. I guess you can say that time is of the essence. Yes, lovely game. Hey, I did it! I beat Back to the Future! Part 2. There's still part 3 to play. Yeah, you know what? That's a future me's problem.